This is PSVR launch day. If you got one at midnight last night and you sit up all night messing with that, bag of snakes that is setting it up, power to you, and I hope
that
you're
hot
functioning.
VR app, bag of snakes.
I hope you're functioning at work today, but we actually put up an article very late last night saying that a few were going up for pre-order. This thing was pretty buttoned up for a while. I had one pre-ordered as of the moment I could, and I don't think I've gone back and forth so much about a purchase in a very long time.
No, it's been insufferable.
Yeah, $400 is a weird amount of money to spend on a toy that you're not totally sold on,
Yeah, and that said, it's also like it's launch hardware. How it actually behaves once it's in the wild is like entirely up in the air, and also you're gonna get just a raft of swear word of really uninteresting launch titles, or stuff that was sort of rushed, or stuff that's just kind of still playing around with it. I mean, you look at the stuff that came out alongside PS4 at launch, and it was like, oh, cool, they added pixels to a game that I already have. Anyway, we figured we'd run down some of the kind of reviews that are the reception that we've been getting for PSVR launch titles. Obviously, these are not final. This is from Metacritic. This is going to fluctuate rapidly as more and more people kind of get their hands on the hardware and the games. But I figured just to kind of give a sense of how the lay of the land at launch day is.
And quick PSA, since we always have to do this, sites like Rotten Tomatoes and Metacritic don't write their own reviews. They're aggregate reviews that take scores from multiple places with data, and they compile them all together to create one number.
Yeah. So I mean, obviously,
don't get mad at them.
IGN has its own set of reviews, but you
can get mad at that. That's specifically one person wrote that.
Exactly. Anyway, so let's start out with PlayStation VR Worlds. That is. There's the Project Morpheus on the side there. VR Worlds, I think that comes with the deluxe version of the VR headset.
Yeah, and an interesting thing about this one is that it's sort of a hodgepodge of different experiences that you'll be able to have with PSVR. Some of them are very vertical slice demos of full-fledged games. Other of them are just sort of things they can get on their own. Think about it like Wii Sports or Wii Play, where it's not really landing on a bunch of different experiences. It's just got a couple things going on.
It's a sizzle reel.
The big criticism...
Like, really worth pointing out, this is effectively, like, this is not just a new console. This is like a new platform. This is a new way of interacting with games, and like we had with motion controls and with, like, I imagine with handheld games, like, how do you play it? Like, what is it? What kind of a game is this? And in the case of VR, it's such a huge drastic leap that it doesn't necessarily, like, you can't review this on the same rubric you might review like a regular console game where it's kind of a known quantity. It's entirely, like, this is a game where you go on a London heist and also get attacked by a shark at the bottom of the sea.
Yeah. Like, so the running theme with a lot of these demos on this disc, as I've been reading, is that they sort of end right before they get really, really good. I mean, they are demos. So you get what you pay for, which I think in most cases is free. So yeah.
So there's VR Worlds, it's 57. On the other hand, you've got Riggs Mechanized Combat League.
Turned out way better than I actually thought it would.
Yeah, we heard early reports that this was like vomit-inducing and broken as hell, and apparently they pulled it together, and it's robot fighting in VR, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, they're going for basically PSVRs are the first VR esport, and apparently the head tracking in Riggs is some of the best you'll see on PSVR, which I noticed other sites such as Giant Bomb over there with Jeff Gersman had some issues with some of the head tracking in some games, but Riggs seems to really nail it.
Cool. Then you've got Drive Club VR. Not such a hot reception. Again, this is one of those tricky ones where you're taking a game that has an existing fan base in its conventional state and trying to apply it to VR, and I mean, it's kind of weird. There are like user scores on this stuff already, but like the hardware isn't out yet. So I mean, maybe people just, I don't know who gets like a new game console and is like, I need to get on Metacritic instead of enjoying this thing I just got. But yeah, so that seems to be kind of a disappointment critically.
Yeah, you always have to be a little wary of the user reviews. This is one I'm interested in.
This is one people are really excited about. It's Batman Arkham VR. It is not a full-blown open-world Batman game. It is, what, like 90 minutes?
Yeah, it's about 90 minutes. You'll be able to play through it a couple times to look for other stuff. But this is a thing that kind of lets you play as Batman. Now, if you really love the more detective-y stuff that Batman can do, this is right up your alley. If you played all the Arkham games and you're really into that combat of taking on 5 guys at the same time, this is not going to work too well because the combat in this game actually sort of like cuts away.
Yeah, also you'll destroy your living room if you try to do that kind of combat.
Yeah. I will mention, though, there's a really cool thing in this game where Batman can stand in front of a mirror and basically do whatever he wants and just kind of move his body around. So that's odd.
That sounds like a killer app on its own. All right, we're going to burn through the rest of these pretty quick. Job Simulator. This is already out on other VR platforms. 74.
You played this, right?
Yeah, it's really weird. It's totally one of those things. It's a goofy, like kind of in the same realm as like Goat Simulator. It's a tongue-in-cheek simulation game. Not really what you'd think of as an official game. So, you know, again, user score to be decided. Headmaster, that's the one where you play soccer with your head. 71. from 4 critics, whatever that means. Rush of Blood Until Dawn, that's kind of the theme park ride, horror thing. Horror is like obviously a good application for VR, but it's also one of those ones where if this is an hour and a half long experience and it's a bunch of jump scares, how much replay value is it?
Yeah.
So there's that. Then there's Battlezone, which is kind of like, it's laser tanks in the future in
A little
VR
Tron
in
going on
74. Tumble VR is a puzzle game. Doesn't seem like it's really blowing anyone away, but it's also not, it's not terrible. Thumper, this one people seem to really like a lot. I've heard good things about this. It's what is it? Is a rhythm violence action game or something?
Yeah,
it's like
Chloe Rad reviewed this for us at IGN, and it's one of those things where she's been playing it on her TV, and every time I walk by, I have to look at it.
Yeah. It looks very cool. Here They Lie. This is a horror kind of adventure type psychological thing. 60. Rez seems to be kind of the number one best received thing so far. This is, of course, the classic Rez, but now it's in VR.
Yep,
People
I'm
like
all
it.
over this one.
This is the highest rated one. Again, a lot of these we're still waiting to hear about them. And this is all going to change as more and more people review these games.
Yeah, honorable mention to stuff like Super Hypercube and Wayward Sky. There's a couple, just a couple weird ones out there.
So there we
dig
go.
around.
PSVR. It's out in the wild, and it's going to be real weird for the rest of its lifetime, whatever that means.